Yes, and hopefully this one won't take an eternity, but last time we saw Tempo play this map, I think it was an 11-minute victory. So let's see.
13 or 14 minute, yeah.
Oh, close enough.
Close.
Let's see what's going to be happening, though, as we get on into this draft. First pick, first ban, going on over to Tempo Storm. They ban out that Kael'thas.
No fire here. Of course, nobody likes Zera tool on Zuna. So that's going to get the quick second ban going. And Jaina, if it's not going to be one mage, it will be the other. That's going to be the first pick here for Tempo.
I'm here.
It's a very nice way to just ban out one of those mages and then pick the other one. So you really just deny your opponent the ability to deal with that type of range caster damage easily. So as a response, 1 point we'll pick up Muradin and Sylvanas.
Muradin and Sylvanas. All right, so it's not quite the support role early, but it is actually going to be a tank. So that's good for 1 point to kind of solidify, because Johanna is actually the return pick immediately here with Rhaegar.
I will
Right,
fight to
and
my
they're
last
also going to pick up
breath.
Johanna as well. So getting the J&J in there with the Rhaegar,
crusade
Tempo Storm's got a
calls.
very nice, solid team so far. They have a very nice infrastructure laid down. I'm curious to see who else they're going to be picking up as their later picks. But 1 point going now into the ban phases, bans out that Tassadar.
So I don't know what they have against Protoss, but maybe we're going to run some Zerg.
Maybe a Kerrigan. A Kerrigan would be a really nice pickup here. They have actually the option to pick up Uther Kerrigan. I think that probably might be their next picks if they really want to go for something like that.
Well, now with the Toronto ban out, I mean, she is kind of the big support here for a lot of melee comps. So, wow! Never mind. I kind of said it in jest about
Wait
running
till they
some
get a little
Zerg,
mean.
but 1 point is going to favor us with a Kerrigan.
Right, and that Kerrigan is so good on this map, being able to use that Primal Grasp to draw people into those little circles that pop up absolutely everywhere on those Immortals. And I'm curious to see, they have to go for an Uther here. There's no way they go for anything else support-wise.
In before Rhaegar, oh wait, Tempo Storm made sure to solidify that pick. Now, without the Tyrande, sure, fine. You're not going to see that Butcher, but Kerrigan coming in, yeah. I mean, with the Kerrigan Mirrodin, that's no, it's pretty close to the dream dive comp that you want, and you got to get that Divine Shield going.
Mm-hmm. So they're taking a bit of time. There's that Uther Kerrigan, as I was talking about, and pretty glad to see something like this. I think it's going to be a very nice composition win here for 1 point so far. Though Tempo Storm, J&J with the Rhaegar, very scary.
Asmodee hype? Zagara hype?
Zagara, I would prefer.
I think it would be a Zagara. A Zagara Vala would secure you a lot of information control, but a lot of battlefield control as well. If Kerrigan goes in first without any support, you can Q build her, and she'll take a big burst of damage. But at the same time, you can maw the rest of the support coming in from 1 point. You can section off parts of the team in that regard. And again, the creep with a lot of information control with those tumors. Now, we did see earlier in Abathur, you can get the same kind of control with Toxic Nest play, but I would definitely want to see a Zagara or a Vala in these last two picks.
I'd be a little bit afraid to run the Abathur against a Kerrigan, but ooh, never mind. They're going to go for Butcher Abathur. Now that is a combination.
Okay, so I mean, even with the Tyrande out, the Abathur, Johanna, and Rhaegar in the backs, they're going to use Jaina for that just finishing off potential. We saw already one Abathur today absolutely dominate the gameplay with Battlefield of Eternity. Curious to see if we're going to see something similar, or if it's just going to be support the Butcher.
Support the Butcher, because now you also have the Johanna plus the Butcher. You have two great symbiote hosts. And going with that, of course, you're going to get that pressurized glands, which is going to be increasing the W range, as well as probably going to be a couple points into increasing Q's damage and charges. So I feel like overall, this is probably going to be a very symbiote-focused Abathur, as opposed to the crazy symbiote. Symbiote on heroes instead of symbiote on critters.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, we'll take that. Yeah, the Network Carapace, will that return here? And I don't know. It's kind of hard to call at this point. But 1 point, we'll finish off the draft with a Vala, and for basically the same reasons that I cited a bit earlier. It should be a Q build, looking for the overextension of Butcher.
Yeah, and that's what's going to be really interesting. Who's going to win the melee off, right? We've got the Kerrigan versus the Butcher. Oh,
The melee off.
the melee off.
Melee off.
Melee?
Yeah, doesn't quite
We
work.
playing?
does it?
Yeah, not really.
No, doesn't. Oh well.
I mean, you could just say who's gonna win the melee, because a melee is also a battle,
Okay, Smash.
and it's also who's gonna smash the melee battle. We'll see.
On that note, looks like teams are just about ready to go. The Kerrigan Uther has been a tried and true, especially with the Mirrodin to jump into that. Some good body blocking potential, especially in some of these smaller areas. The mess of a team fight there into the midsection. But the longer some of these team fights go on, the more value you're going to get out of Abathur just passively soaking up and pushing other lanes.
Yes, that's true. And not only that, but they've got the Rhaegar on Tempo Storm as well. And Rhaegar is just a little bit more of a sustain healer than Uther is. Uther can keep people alive for a good amount of time, but if you don't burst somebody down pretty quickly, Uther can run out of mana, as well as the fact that his burst healing is not the best for keeping everybody alive for a very long amount of time if there's distributed damage. So we'll just see how that Jaina, how the Butcher are going to be dealt with as we go on into this, and I'm curious to see just how that Abathur is going to get played.
Yeah, Battlefield of Eternity. We saw this a bit earlier. Battle the Immortals, defeat the enemy, and devastate forts. Kind of curious that devastate forts is like a big tagline in this one. Like, you have to devastate the forts. That's a general tip. But there it is.
Win the game by killing the core. Thanks, John Madden.
You know nothing, Jon Snow. Devastate the forts? No, Jon Snow.
Well, let's see who's going to win. The Lord of Light?
Is that his actual title?
No.
Okay.
I was just going with Jon Snow.
Got it.
There. Oh, all right. Anyway, let's get on into this game. Spawn over here on the left-hand side in the blue trunks. It is Tempo Storm, Zuna, KO, Soldier, Dreadnought, and Ortholon. Pajama there.
Aw, so cute. Except that icky stuff behind him. Yeah. Diaper? I don't know. Anyways, so into the other side of things, 1 point. Once more looking to put up that point on the board so that they do not go out 2-0. Best foot forward, gents. Solus, Doc Destroy, Machoke, Yuki, and Peruvian Jedi. Hopefully his melee is just as good with Kerrigan as he is with the lightsaber.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how a Jedi is going to play Kerrigan. Could you imagine Kerrigan, instead of having the giant blade wings, just had lightsaber wings?
New skin idea. Robot Kerrigan. Just like
Robot
you have Mecha Tassadar, Mecha Kerrigan.
She'd basically just be like one of those really like awesome super final form Gundam wing kind of things.
Right? Yes. Blizzard will take 50% revenue. You're welcome.
Yeah. We'll accept checks. We'll accept PayPal.
So right now, Doc Destroy is kind of be the big early game decider of exactly how Tempo Storm is going to, respond. Doc Destroy, of course, being Sylvanas down south, and the rest of the team here is just kind of looking for those ganks. Zuna is not showing himself. He's still actually way there in the back. He's not in the mid, and it does look like finally he is going to make some movements. But if you don't match a Sylvanas, Soldier by himself, I don't think can actually just repel this lane. But they're not really pushing that advantage, are they?
They're not. In fact, they're actually moving Peruvian Jedi as well as Machoke up into the top lane to help deal with this push potential. Now, Zuna on the Butcher. The Butcher doesn't really, not many people really think about it, but just having those stationary targets of towers, of just structures in general, the Butcher is actually really good at siege damage as well. As long as he can just get in there and start doing the damage. Obviously, he can't brand them, so he can't heal back from them. But it doesn't really matter. As soon as he starts picking up all that fresh meat stack, his auto attack damage is just so good. But Johanna goes down in the bot lane.
Yes, she does. She actually popped out the Unstoppable, thought that there's a gank coming, realized, nope, no gank, went back to the fray, and Peruvian Jedi, who actually was waiting in the wings, immediately just found him and comboed down. So a little bit of an experience lead will go over to 1 point, but the Immortals are up, and this is where hopefully Arcthalon will have a little bit of time to shine here.
And already we start to see Arthalon get into the middle of the lane. However, Peruvian Jedi gets a pickup on Zuna. Can Peruvian actually disengage it? There's a Holy Light there from Yuki to actually keep Peruvian alive for a little bit longer, but Choke now going pretty ham onto KO. KO getting the Abathur symbiote, but wow, 1 point playing this game very aggressively, and it's working out for them very well. Level 4 has been grabbed by them.
Yeah, Peruvian actually is going to miss the Primal Grasp, but he does actually get the stun on top of Dread. Dread, still not even level 4. This is now a talent advantage going the way of Mirrodin and crew, but, well, he's actually going to drop to that charge and the Abathur hat there as well. Peruvian Jedi is just going to have to run for the hills. Yuki, I want to say, is going to get out of this one. It looks like he actually will. Doc Destroy, the Envenom on top of Dreadnought. Oh, is that enough?
I don't think so. With the nerfed Envenom, it would have been enough before, but not anymore with the 10-second duration.
Well,
oh, that was close.
They tried, gents. We're still looking for the 50% fight as the Immortals. There we go. Arfani just going to ping that back and forth. Machoke finds the stun on top of Zuna. The rest of Dreadnought's mana going into keeping him up. But there's not a lot. Oh, the Kerrigan found Arthalon. Bottom.
Oh, and that's going to be a kill on Arthalon. Very well played there by Peruvian Jedi. Using the foresight of the Force. I feel like that's for evil, though. He might be a Sith.
Peruvian Sith calls himself Jedi. It's like the Chancellor all over again. All right, so a little bit of an advantage going the way here of 1 point. Definitely looking much better here in this early game, but they got to get some of this damage going on top of these Immortals because they are still lagging behind in that fight just a little bit.
Yeah, they need to start doing a lot more damage to the Angelic Immortal for Tempo Storm here, where they're going to definitely lose that out, and that's a huge amount of pushing that's going to be able to go on Tempo side. Meanwhile, Peruvian Jedi is going to get fall down here to Zuna and Dreadnought. Arthalon trying to symbiote Zuna to keep him alive long enough, but with the brand, oh, very well played there. Machoke knew he had the brand, so he had to leap away so that so that Zuna wasn't able to heal back up to full.
And Arthalon's just going to immediately transition into that top lane. Solus is going to be a big target here. He has that hat on Johanna, but big damage coming down on top of KO. Does not look like they can seal the deal. No damage to actually follow up with Machoke and Yuki. But here comes the Peruvian Jedi. Immediately, Soldier's just like, nope. Let's go straight down. And nobody is actually touching these Immortals.
Yeah, they're just kind of completely bypassing them. And that's actually probably to Tempo's favor. Tempo wants to soak until they hit level 7. Meanwhile, look at this. We see the level 7 come out here from 1 point. So they're now actually in a pretty good advantage if they can start picking up a couple kills. Zuna going in there. There's the mark on Dr. Destroy. Dr. Destroy backs up, and that's very smart play. Just knowing where the brand is, and you have to back up. You can't fight when you have the brand on you. You have to escape.
So close. Kerrigan is just going to unload on top of KO. Did actually hit one of those toxic nests there as well, but Dreadnought Soldier should not lag behind and get caught. But now again, this will lead us a little bit of damage time here on top of these Immortals. 3,700 to 4,700. It's still a bit of a lead for Tempo, but now Tempo also has that level 7, and we have a mule on Arthalon.
Yeah, I think Arthalon has no other choice but to go for the mule. Probably would have liked to get the spike increase, but that's just not going to work here. Zuna does go for a little bit of an engage, and actually, ooh, Peruvian Jedi keeps him locked into that stun circle from the Immortal, but it's not going to actually turn into a kill. Zuna does have to disengage.
And Dreadnought with the cleanser just made that happen. The Q build comes out. Solus with that reset is able to take home Vala. And again, more damage now coming on top of the Angelic Immortal. This could actually be sealing the deal here for 1 point. And that will be a bit of a push. About half of the shield will remain. And which way will that go? Top, I believe, is the healthiest.
Yeah, it's going to go top. So this is going to be a nice place for them. Dr. Destroy, though, pretty low in health. Has to be careful. Zuna looks like he's going for the flank. And they're trying to use Arthalon as a bait. But as soon as Yuki showed up, they knew Zuna knew he had to back up. He wasn't going to be able to get that solo kill on Dr. Destroy. That was a very smart little play there. They're going to use this time to split push pretty heavily, using that Sylvanas trait Black Arrows in order to knock out the ability for those towers to defend themselves.
Yeah, and Solus, he is soaring off the Qs as much as he can. We do got that mule. It is only going to be one tower, not exactly the strongest of pushes, but the bottom gate is now removed. And this is actually, going to be hard for Arthalon to kind of, do those big, risky Abathur soaking maneuvers, because now he has no gate on bottom and he's missing a tower up into the top.
Right, so he's got to be very, very careful, especially when we saw just Peruvian Jedi running around finding Arthalon before. So he has to be very, very careful of where the enemy is. And on a map like this, where you don't normally have full vision of the enemy team, that's scary.
It's absolutely scary, but a little bit of a comforting thought going the way of 1 point. They have their heroics first and a little bit of a window. Are they actually going to look for a kill on top of KO? It's not quite the positioning that they were hoping for. Doc Destroy is still down here, but as soon as Zuna hits that 10, that could actually be game for Sylvanas.
It could be. Now, that's a very, very scary point to bring up, too. I'm curious to see if Zuna's probably going to go for that Furnace Blast yet again. Yeah, there's that Unstoppable to charge in. There's the the Haunting Wave to get away.
Yep, Furnace Blast. It's almost always Furnace Blast. I don't think I've actually seen Lamb to the slaughter in any competitive match.
I don't think I've seen it either, but you know what? There's always hope. I think it's a pretty cool talent, but of course Furnace Blast is just undeniably so much damage to throw down on the enemy team, especially with just the ability to run into the enemy team and then just do 500 some damage very quickly.
So we're seeing a very different Abathur build than what we saw earlier with Ascent. This is, very much more the standard pressurized into Adrenal Overlord. We do, of course, have the Mule, and the Mule working pretty much overtime on that top area. But at level 10, it is going to be the evolution.
Yeah, and it's going to be probably going in on Zuna, I would assume, for the most part. But it could also easily go in on KO. Oh my god, Zuna getting a huge Ancestral. There's a massive Maelstrom coming in there from Soldier. Trying to keep Zuna alive is Rhaegar, but it's not going to actually work. So it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade right now. And in fact, Dreadnought going to go down as well. But with a huge Blizzard, a flanking Blizzard with Arthlon and KO, it's just too much damage for 1 point to deal with. And they have to back up. Machoke taking huge amount of hits. And Yuki's trying to keep him alive, but he's going to fall. And with the Water Elemental going in there on Machoke, I don't know. The slow is too much. And the Ice Bolt to finish off the job.
Flanking Blizzard from KO. MVP play right there. Came in, destroyed that big group up. And something to note, though. Zuna didn't actually cast Furnace Blast.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't cast it. I don't know what the Ultimate Evolution went down on. I didn't see a double Butcher, but Zuna...
double Jaina.
So double Jaina for that top end burst damage, but we didn't even have a Furnace on that one. If Furnace had gone down earlier, that would have just been completely game over for 1 point. But at the same time, I mean, sure, they invaded, they didn't win it out. They're still leading in kills, but now they're lagging behind a little bit in experience.
That's quite true, and you can already see that experience difference is going to be a level 13 talent tier advantage here for Tempo Storm. Going on to this next Immortal fight, that's a huge amount of levels you don't want to be down. And you don't want to be down, I'm sorry, not levels, but just experience. Because that level 13, that's going to change these fights a little bit.
Just a tad, yeah, just a tad. Soldier's going to be taking the brunt of a good amount of damage here. Big stuns, has to get that Unstoppable going. Machoke and crew will not be able to lock her up. Not then. It has a little bit of a window now to do it if she is going to come back, but does not look like that is going to be the plan. We do have now pings on top. There is an Abathur up here, and Arthalon, yeah. Oh, the Locust actually just playing around the Peruvian Jedi senses.
Oh, Zuna going for that Furnace Blast, just barely missing Doc Destroy. There is going to be a huge Wailing Arrow, but it's only going to hit KO in the backline. Meanwhile, Zuna getting engaged upon pretty harshly. There is a huge Ancestral and a massive Divine Storm from the Maelstrom. I don't know if it's going to be able to turn this fight around. Oh my god, 3 kills for 1 point. They're doing so well. Dreadnought picks up the kill in the backline. Can he disengage, though? That's the question. He does not have the Shadow form on the Wolf. He's got Feral Heart. And actually, they now pick it up into 2 kills here in their favor.
Oh, Dreadnought is, he's playing fast and furious here. He's looking for that kill on top of Doc Destroy with the help of Arthalon on that Abathur. But so far, they haven't been able to take down anybody since. Oh, I was going to say, if Doc Destroy comes into that one, that would be super dangerous.
Yeah, but Dreadnought was so close to dying. That could have easily been a kill there, but they don't want to go that crazy. They don't want to let go of this balancing of the levels. You know, it's like the Jedis, they always seek that balance, right? And they have that balance right now.
Our battle cannot remain here, says Alarian. As did they actually even switch positions?
They did. They were left and right,
yeah.
And now they're top and bot.
Oof. So, so coming back into this bottom, it's going to be the tempo for defense. It feels like a little bit they are lagging behind in this damage, and the team fights from 1 point have been absolutely on point. Level 14 now from both sides. What are those 13 talents coming in? It does look pretty standard across the board.
Yeah, Rhaegar just going for more and more of those chain heal talents. Sorry, I was just completely blanked out there. Chain heal talents and just getting that healing surge just to do a little bit more healing. Arthalon gets engaged upon, but it's going to get healed back up to full. And this actually turns everything around. There's the Unstoppable, there's the Divine Shield as well. They're trying to disengage. Now Yuki is going to be the force in between the Water Elemental and the rest of Tempo Storm. And I don't think Yeah, Machoke is going to be able to get away from there, but the fort taking a good amount of damage. Tempo loses Arthalon, though.
Well, they lose the Arthalon clone.
The Arthalon clone, sorry. Yeah, should
Yep, so Arthalon's just going to start making a new nest into the bottom. But during that entire fight, would you believe that the Angelic Immortal did actually perish?
Mm-hmm. And going over to the enemy team, that's going to allow them to do a good amount of pushing here. And already we can see them taking a pretty good amount of damage on that fort.
Yeah, the fort, the Sylvanas arrows coming in, and just like the push away here from 1 point will actually secure that fort. And the mule not going to be able to really do too much about that. Now, there was a strafe coming into that one. It's down for another 40 seconds. Vala just didn't really seem, it looked good in the beginning, but just the way that everyone retreated from Tempo Storm, they immediately knew that they had to get back. And he didn't, I think, get the big value. This is a much bigger value. Look at that big stun and that Furnace Blast on top of Peruvian Jedi.
Yeah, and look at how much damage they're taking as well. Yuki, this is exactly the disadvantage here of Uther. When there's huge amount of distributed damage, Peruvian Jedi has to back up here. Yuki's using the Divine Shield on himself to get out, but I don't know if it's going to actually work out. No! He falls. And that's going to be Tempo picking up 16 before 1 point, which was actually, I thought, slated for 1 point to pick up 16 first.
Machoke is going to be up here. He's going to be looking for that Arthalon. Oh, did he actually get a note of him? I think he actually knows, but Arthalon is just too slinky. He's going to get away out of that one. He's now on top of Zuna, and bottom fort is going. Here comes the big charge. And Peruvian, big burst of damage. He is going to take a dirt now.
Yeah, that was a really great play there by Zuna, using the symbiote from Arthalon as well. That was a really nice reciprocation. Arthalon says, if you want to try and kill me, I'll kill one of your teammates. And I think that's exactly what happened there.
Arthalon has kind of really baited out a lot of maneuvering from 1 point. They got one kill, and with that Abathur blood, fresh in their teeth, they keep looking for another one. And that has actually worked out extremely well for Tempo Storm, because they have yet to take down the worm, and because they're always off chasing him on adventures, they're not really getting big defense or kills, it seems, in these last few fights.
Yeah, that's exactly true. And it's really just comes down to some really, really clutch play on being able to focus on who needs to be healed and who needs to actually take the most amount of damage. And wow, that Furnace Blast hitting 3 members there with the Condemn, with everything else. And this is, again, the issue with having that Uther. The burst healing, this burst damage on an AoE basis is just too much. There's the Divine Shield on Peruvian Jedi, but the Maelstrom really just didn't do that much. Dr. Destroy has to disengage, and yet again, Tempo Storm takes a really nice commanding lead through that last team fight.
Uther's great for an offensive healer, but he absolutely lacks when it comes to the defense. As you keep saying, the distributed damage that we're able to dish out here from Tempo Storm engaging upon the opponents. Uther has repeatedly just not been able to keep up with that level of output. Dreadnought, however, has been absolutely thriving on it. Johanna is super kind of sustainable. We got the shields coming in from the Abathur as well to help out in pinch situations. Life Brand from Zuna, right? There's a lot more survivability on a distributed scale from Tempo Storm, but they've been pushing out a lot of damage. It was a bit shaky there in the early, but they have climbed back to not only the level lead, but the kill lead, and now another Immortal for their side.
And almost a full health Immortal as well. Actually, I don't know about that. 1 point is going to put a good amount of damage onto that Immortal of their own side. So that's going to be reduced amount of shields. It's not going to be full health, but it's still about 2/3 health. That's a pretty beefy Immortal to go through, and that's easily going to be a keep if they play this correctly.
Well, the top lane has no fort, and here comes the rest of Tempo Storm. They're going to be looking for this engage around the loop, and they're going to be finding this team a little unprepared.
Oh my God! What massive combo! The Condemn into Blizzard into Furnace Blast. Far too much for the enemy team to deal with. And with Arthalon pushing in the bot lane as well, it's going to be very difficult.
So, Numbing Blast from Jaina to root everyone into Blizzard, into Furnace. We got Arthalon still kind of pushing out everyone out there as well. Big damage from Zuna. And you're right, it's going to absolutely be a key. Level 20 coming out into this as well. Nexus Blades on the Butcher. This is probably core, my friend.
They were playing so well in the beginning of this game. They were playing so well into the middle of this game, but Tempo Storm was able to unseat 1 point's massive advantage going on into this game. And that's going to be a 2-0 for Tempo Storm. Well played indeed.
Something to be said about Zuna and the addition here to Tempo Storm. The fact that he can play so many different heroes, and he always has the threat there of those melees. I mean, the Tyrande was a big ban from Tempo Storm, but they said we can still do this. Butcher, Abathur, no problem. Johanna for the control, Rhaegar for the distributed just healing. It came together super, super well at the end. And level 20 to 17 wasn't our fastest game on Battlefield, but at the same time, what a convincing and solid way to go.
That was a really good game by both those teams. It was going back and forth quite a bit, but at the end of the day, Tempo Storm is always best at their late game phase. Their decision making is just undeniably above everybody else's, I would feel, at this point in the game, especially in NA. We'll see about EU when we get to BlizzCon, am I right? But speaking of road to BlizzCon, that's going to mean that Tempo is going to go into the round 8.
Not really, a lot of people were coming into this saying, oh, Tempo Storm, they're not even going to lose a game. Man, they probably not even going to die. It wasn't quite the case here in this setting. 1 point, I would want to see more from them. Their early was good. Their mid, good. Their late, maybe kind of a bit shaky there at the end of it all. But I would want to see more. We've seen now Team Ascent today, 1 point. And of course, Tempo Storm just kind of smashing everybody else out of it. But I highly suspect we're going to be seeing more and more of these caliber teams as we get closer and closer to BlizzCon joining these open qualifiers.
Quite true, quite true. Well,